Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to look at the 5 surprises rumored to happen on tonight's episode of SmackDown. That includes new alliances to be formed with Roman Reigns, Aleista Black coming back with a new avatar to possibly challenge top stars, and Bianca Belair finally addresses the possibility of facing Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37. It's almost time for the first episode of WWE Smackdown after the 2021 Royal Rumble, and all eyes will be on the product, one has to assume, following the Titanic event. It does help that both Edge and Bianca Belair are likely to be a part of WWE Smackdown this week, and we should finally have some clarity about the WrestleMania card based on how this week's show pans out. So, with that said, here are 5 surprises that could potentially happen on this week's episode of WWE Smackdown, served hot and fresh for you. Of course, this is all merely speculation, so we request that you treat it as such and not inside knowledge. As always, if you have a view or an opinion about any of the WWE Smackdown surprises mentioned in this list, be sure to list them out here. In the absence of Jey Uso, Roman Reigns aligns himself with a new WWE Smackdown star. We recently learned that Jey Uso is not cleared to wrestle, which is why he missed the 2021 Royal Rumble. Whatever the case may be, we wish him a very speedy recovery. We do hope that he is back on his feet very soon indeed. It opens the possibility for a very unique alliance. We saw the tease of some kind of partnership between Apollo Crews and Roman Reigns on WWE Smackdown not long ago. Could that finally come to fruition on this week's show? Imagine how crazy such an alliance would be, and how the gifted Apollo Crews, with Reigns' guidance, could go after Big E in the Intercontinental Championship. It would make the WWE SmackDown brand very interesting indeed. Edge comes to WWE SmackDown and is immediately confronted by Seth Rollins. Edge will be on WWE SmackDown this week, following his rather eventful appearances on Raw and NXT this week. Of course, if he does appear on WWE SmackDown, one would assume it would be to confront Roman Reigns. However, we could be in for a major swerve, where Edge steps out on WWE SmackDown, cuts a promo about Roman Reigns' new attitude, and instead of being confronted by the Tribal Chief, is confronted by the Friday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Edge vs Seth Rollins is just as big a match as Edge vs Roman Reigns, to be fair, and it could be a massive main event clash on this week's episode. Edge is in for the long haul, and he has a lot of dream opponents to go through from the WWE SmackDown roster. One by one, they could play out on episodes of WWE Raw and SmackDown in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, since Edge seems like he doesn't want to be just another veteran performer. Aleista Black returns to WWE SmackDown in a brand new avatar. WWE Smackdown Superstar Aleista Black was once hailed as the next breakout star in wrestling, especially if you consider how much he was protected and pushed during his NXT run as a top-tier performer. Following the departure of his wife Zelina Vega from WWE, Aleista Black's appearances began to become scant. A report would emerge that would stress the following: sources on SmackDown have indicated to us that they've not seen Black at all backstage since after the Zelina release. We haven't heard as to whether or not there are any specific issues between Black and WWE, but one person we talked to in the company seems to think that they're letting any ill will between the two subside. However, the new report makes mention of a big dramatic debut for the WWE SmackDown brand, the reason why he was pulled from television, to begin with. There's no better time than now for him to return to WWE SmackDown programming, following the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks are forced to team up on WWE SmackDown against Bayley and Carmella. Prior to this week's edition of WWE SmackDown, there's a big chance that Bianca Belair will go for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship and Sasha Banks, but obviously, the company has to kill time until WrestleMania comes around. And this is precisely why WWE Creative may choose to have Sasha Banks team up with Bianca Belair on WWE SmackDown this week against a team such as Bayley and Carmella. Maybe there is a miscommunication during the course of the contest, which gives us a reason to see these two babyfaces clash. Or maybe one of the two women actually turns heel during the course of this massive WWE SmackDown showdown, making the WrestleMania match all the more exciting. Bianca Belair finally addresses the possibility of facing Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37. Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble match and now has a tough decision ahead of her. The EST must choose who her opponent will be at WrestleMania 37, and one of her options is the SmackDown Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. Bianca Belair is a WWE superstar currently working on Friday Night SmackDown. Belair recently made history, becoming the first African-American woman to win the Royal Rumble. Her victory also ensures her an opportunity to get her first title with WWE at WrestleMania. While discussing possible WrestleMania opponents with Ryan Satin of Fox Sports, Bianca Belair spoke about the possibility of facing SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37. The EST revealed that, if she were to challenge the boss, it would be more than just a match. It's more than just a match. Just us standing in the ring together. You have these two alpha females who represent women empowerment. It's just a message that can really be just us standing in the ring without us even doing anything or saying anything. The match would mean a lot for the African American community as well. Two powerhouses from the community going head-to-head for one of the biggest championships in WWE on the grandest stage of them all will be must-see. Apart from choosing her opponent for WrestleMania 37, there is still a lot left for Bianca Belair to do. The EST still has unfinished business with Bayley, who is extremely unhappy with Belair's Royal Rumble victory. The fact that Belair eliminated Bayley makes things a lot more interesting for the EST, with Friday night drawing closer. It will only be a matter of time before Bianca Belair decides to finally put her feud with Bayley to bed.